transgressions of the fathers go to the children to the third and fourth generation. It says the iniquities. The iniquities of the fathers. In other words, sir, if it's in your heart, it will affect your family. We even have a saying in the world that what one generation does in moderation, the next generation does in excess. That's because if it's in the heart of one generation, it's in the hand of the other. Iniquity is inward motivation. If you're taking notes, you ought to write that down. Iniquity is inward motivation. Transgression is outward movement. But please, please, please hear me clearly. If it's in your heart, it will affect your family. Don't allow it to stay in your heart. By the way, the Bible is so perfect. It is so perfect because the Bible fits together perfectly. Remember, transgression is outward, iniquity is inward. Let me just read you one scripture. Isaiah 53 verse 5 says, He was wounded, that's an outward, wounded outwardly for our transgressions. He was bruised, that's inward bleeding for our iniquities. So Jesus died to pay for all of them. So impurity affects your family. Here's number 2. Impurity affects your faith. It affects your walk with God. It not only affects your walk with others, it affects your walk with God. Let me explain this to you. And I'm going to tell you something extremely practical here. One time I was speaking to a group of young people, and I opened in this area about purity, and I opened up for questions and answers. And a very question came that was just a question that really exemplifies what a lot of young people feel. This person said to me, if we love each other and we're going to get married anyway, what difference does a piece of paper make? Now I want you to notice even how she phrased the question was letting me know what the enemy was telling this young couple. In other words, the enemy was trying to put the focus on a piece of paper. If we love each other and we're going to get married anyway, this is the lie the enemy tells people. What difference does a piece of paper make? Speaking of the marriage license. And here's what my answer was. None. None. The piece of paper that the license is written on makes no difference at all. It's not the piece of paper that makes the difference. It's the blessing of God that makes the difference. And when God tells us not to do something, it's not because He doesn't want us to have fun or He's approved. He doesn't want our lives destroyed. When we tell our children not to play in the street, it's not because we don't want them to have fun. It's because we want to save their lives because we want them to have fun. We want them to be around and alive long enough to have fun. So when God says flee sexual immorality, there's a reason. And I want to tell you what that reason is. All sexual immorality opens up the door to numerous sins. One of the sins would be deception. One is manipulation. One is lying. You have to sneak around for any type of sexual immorality. And so you open up a door to lying, to be deceptive. David himself, when he was sexually immoral, then had to commit murder to try and cover it up. And so when you have premarital sex, you learn how to lie and be deceptive.